Welcome, friends. Welcome once again to Mana Studios. My name is Chriswell Baloyi. I'm a financial planner at Madimela Investments. I'm also a founder of the Financial Literacy Foundation. This program is brought to you by the Financial Literacy Foundation. First of all, let me appreciate Pastor Joylene, my senior pastor, and Pastor Strike, who created this opportunity. I'm standing on their shoulders today to be able to reach you. And thank you very much, friends, for tuning in. We have spoken in the previous times and we are continuing in that talk. Today I'm broadcasting straight from Mana TV studios. We have been used to doing this straight from my office, but today I'm hosted by the big hands of Pastor Strike. Thank you very much, Pastor Strike, for this opportunity. Thank you, and let us continue. Last week we spoke about the 7 laws of money. Do you still remember them? Let me remind you. I will run through them so that we can connect from them and continue with today's talk. We said rule number 1, laws and rules are one and the same thing, my friends. Rule number 1, we said you must learn to spend less than what you earn. And rule number 2, we said you must be able to save for the future. And rule number 3, we said give some away. And this rule number 3 is the one that we're going to be talking about today. Rule number 4, we said anticipate your irregular expenditure, then prepare accordingly. Rule number 5 said tell your money where to go and make sure that it gets there. That is budgeting. Rule number 6, we said manage your credit and only borrow what you can afford to repay. And rule number 7 was saying learn the language of money. Those are the 7 rules. And I said if you violate these rules, chances are you will struggle in your money walk. You will struggle in your life when it comes to money. Today we want to expand and talk some more with regard to these laws. Why? So that we can be able to implement. It's not about just listening to them, but it's more about implementation. So let's make these laws to be part of our daily lives, to be part of our work, to be part of how we manage our finances. If you observe these laws, you will realize that there are certain skills that comes that we need to develop in order to be able to observe those rules. What happens when you don't observe the rules? If you are driving a car, when you don't observe the rules, you get into an accident. You destroy property. When you don't observe the rules that relate to health, we get sick. Now, what happens when we don't observe the financial laws, the financial rules? We misappropriate, we squander, we become poorer, and so on and so on. But as we continue to labor around these laws, because many of the things that we will talk about even going forward, they are centered about these 7 laws or these 7 rules. I realize that there are 7 skills that we need to develop in order to be able to be financially savvy. What are these 7 skills? These are skills that wealthy people are good at. And you are a candidate of wealth. You are wealthy, but you need to bring that out. Let me quickly mention these 7 skills that wealthy people have. Skill number 1, it's the understanding of value. Wealthy people understand that each 1 rand has got a seed in it. Pastor Strike taught us a lot about seed. To say seed is only effective when it is planted. My friend, are you planting the seed that you have? Are you realizing that out of every 1 rand that you are having, there is a seed that needs to be planted in order to be able to be cultivated, in order to be able to bear more fruit? Let us learn in that Money skill number 1, it's understanding that money has value. And in that money, there is a seed to be planted. Money skill number 2 is control. When we speak of budget, you will realize that that is where we learn about managing the spending, managing the income. And that in itself, we call it control. So we need to learn to control our money. We control it to the last cent through budget. Money skill number 3 is save. We said in one of the rules that you need to save at least 10% of our money that we are earning. And there's a difference between saving and investing. Money skill number 3 says you must save at least 10% of your income. Whereas money skill number 4 talk about investing. Now, you must be able to have a system of investing. So investing, it's a system that you can put in place and it comes out automatically. But all in all, you need to know that after saving, you need to invest. Someday we will talk about the difference between saving and investing. Let me say today, you can't invest before you save. So in order to invest, you must start by saving. Why am I saying this? Because I'm teaching you today about the skills that wealthy people have. Every wealthy person that you know started by saving, then investing. Money skill number 5 talks about earning. What is your source of earnings? Is it your salary? That is not enough. You must learn to develop multiple streams of income. We'll talk about that some other time. But today, let's say, if you are a salary earner, that's not enough. Whatever source of income, if you have only one source of income, that is not enough. A wealthy man has got more than one source of income. Are you developing your multiple streams of income? Are you developing your alternative sources of income? Learn to do that and do that successfully. Money skill number 6 talks of shielding. What is to shield? To shield is to protect. Are you protecting your earning potential? Are you protecting your already developed or your already generated wealth? It's a skill that you need to have. How do you protect? You protect by different things. You protect your wealth through entities. You protect your wealth through estate planning. You protect your wealth through creation of family trusts, companies, and different forms. Someday we will talk about that specifically. But today, let me say only that it is a skill that you need to develop. A wealthy man has got a good system of shielding his wealth and a good system of shielding his potential of earning. Let us learn to develop that. Money skill number 7. Speak about sharing. Are you sharing your money? Are you sharing your income? Are you sharing your skills? What is it that you are doing to share? Money skill number 7, share. Learn to share and share correctly. Donate. Generally speaking, let's say you need to share at least 10% of your income. That's a minimum, 10%. And it is a system, it is a principle. Learn to share. The more you share, the more you receive. How much are you sharing? How much of yourself are you giving away? Do you know that what I'm doing here, I'm sharing myself. I'm sharing my skills with you. I'm sharing my knowledge with you. What is it that you are sharing with other people? It is a skill, and you need to develop that skill. So, giving and sharing are related, and that's what we want to talk about today. We said last week that give some away being rule number 3 of money. And what are you giving? I've already said you give money, you give your time, you give your talent. But specifically today, I want to talk about the giving of money. Why do you give? Are you giving because you've got more? Are you giving because you've got too much? No. You give because you have been given. There's a lot that you have been given, my brother. There's a lot that you have been given, my sister. And what are those things? You have been given work. You call it a job. That's fine. You have been given a job. You have been given a business. You have been given a skill. You have been given a skill to earn money, to earn income. So you give because you have been given. You give so that you can receive more. So the Bible says, blessed is the hand that gives. So you give so that you can be blessed. It's a principle. But let's look at it in this way when we talk about money. We said also that you give because you want to break the spirit of greed and you want to break the spirit of fear. We said these two don't mean the same. They are twins. We said that greed, it's an enemy to our finances because it makes you feel that you can never be able to give because you don't have enough. And we said that is where we talk about contentment. So greed deprives you from being content. Whereas we said fear talks about your insecurities. Your insecurity around money. Your insecurity about your future. And we said greed sabotages your present. So greedy people, they are so concerned about their present because they are not able to share. And both of these, they will make you live a miserable life. They will make you live a life that even when you have, you still feel like you don't have enough. You know what? That is greed. That is greed, and it can be broken. How do you break it? You break it through giving. And we said that we will talk about how to give, where to give, how much to give. And today we are going to look at that. But when you give, you learn to be content. When you give, you are saying, I am grateful for what I have now. I am grateful and I am satisfied. Contentment can be cultivated. It's not out of abundance, but it is out of satisfaction. Greed says you don't have enough. Greed says you want more and more and more. And unfortunately, you will never have enough. There is no one who have enough. If enough was a person, if enough was something that we can achieve, there will be people who will have enough and they will stop working. But who has ever stopped working that you know? We stop activities, we stop certain kind of activities, but we never stop working. Greed puts you in a position where you say, I will never be able to achieve that level where I can say I have enough. Now, how much do we give? Do we give to an individual? Do we give to a group of people? Do we give to an organization? And when do we give? It's not much about how much do you give. No. But it's more about why do you give. We have already mentioned that you give because you have been given. It's not much about the quantity of the gift, but it's more about the quality of the gift that you make. It's that what makes the difference, the quality and why. That's the big thing in giving. And we said it's more contentment, it's about the attitude. It is more about the attitude towards your giving than what you give and who you give to. You don't give because you have been paid a lot. You don't give because you have already paid all your bills. No. You give because it is a principle that needs to be practiced. You give away because you have received. You give away regardless of your circumstances. You give away regardless of your level of debts. You can decide how to give as a form of percentage of your income rather than a fixed income. So, because someone who earns a variable income, like a commission earner, or someone who earns income out of sales, your income will vary. So you cannot necessarily say, I give 100 Rand every month. Because someday your 100 Rand will be 100 Rand out of 150 Rand. And I can tell you that will be difficult to do. So you give as a percentage. Teach yourself to compute that percentage and put it in a way that automatically, when you put in your income, you are able to see that, okay, my giving for this month is supposed to be so much. So when your income increases, automatically your level of giving will be increasing because it is a percentage. The goal here is to establish the habit of giving. Is to establish the habit so that the giving becomes a habit. Then it happens automatically. For a Christian, I will say we need to be able to be living already on 80% of our income. 100%? No. Because the moment you live on 100% of your income, you are violating some of the principles. And I'm sorry that you are already, some of us, we are already living beyond 100% of our income. How does that happen? If you are earning 1,000 Rand and you are spending 1,100, where is the 100 Rand coming from? It's coming from your credit card. You are living beyond your means. And you are violating the principles of money. We learn to live on 80% because 10% must be given away. Simple as that. Where's the other 10%? Of course, it goes to tithing. So tithing is a principle, and you cannot violate God's principles. It's not an Old Testament thing. We will look at that in due course. But 80%, it's your level on how and where you must be living. Will you manage? Of course you can. You will manage. Why are you managing now that you are earning so much? Why were you managing previously when you were earning half of that income? You were managing. You know what happened? Now that you are earning 10,000 Rand, you are forgetting that you were once earning 5,000. Your level of spending increased as your income increased. And I said, learn to live within your income. It is possible that you can have your salary increasing and you keep your expenditure, your spending at the same level, at the same rate. And that's what I encourage you to. So you can do that by making sure that as of now, you calculate 80%. That 20% should be used differently. 10% is given away. The other 10% is saved. So how do you give? There are 5 ways that I can mention here. I said give systematically. So you make giving a systematic thing. It's no longer a decision on a monthly basis as to how much do I give. When you give systematically, it means you have a system that calculates on how much you're gonna give, and it stays like that month in, month out. The only change that you can make is to increase that rate. So you give systematically. As you receive your income, take care of your giving first. Yes, I said it so. You first give before you can spend. We are taught on tithing that tithing is the first 10%. So it is the same with giving. Remember, tithing, it's not necessarily a giving, but it is bringing. So with that, you bring your 10%, then you give the other 10%. And principle number 2 on giving, you give thoughtfully. This is a deliberate decision that you need, which is based on your good plans. Your giving, like your spending, should not be impulsive. So don't spend on impulsive system or on an impulsive spirit just as much. Don't give impulsively, give thoughtfully. So you have thought about this and you make it your lifestyle, you make it your culture. It's part of your strategic plan. Number 3, give enthusiastically. Don't give out of guilt. Yes, now you might be feeling guilty that you have not been giving. I forgive you. You probably did not have a good understanding on how to give. But that's why we are doing this today, so that you can understand the right way of giving. So give enthusiastically, not out of guilt, not out of grudge. So don't give grudgingly. It should stir up a sense of excitement when you give. So you should be able to give with enthusiasm. Number 4, give voluntarily. When you give out of force, it's useless. So forceful giving, it's a useless giving. It does not do what it's supposed to do. So giving, it induces your pressure from an organization. So it induces your ability to be able to live to a level of satisfaction. And giving voluntarily also means that you must be able to never allow anyone to twist your arm, so to speak. You don't give out of being convinced by someone, but you give out of understanding. That is giving voluntarily. And give cheerfully. That is number 5 way of giving. Give cheerfully. Generosity. When we say you are generous, that is being cheerful. So generosity will bring happiness. So when you give cheerfully, you will be happy even out of your giving. You give out of the heart of gratitude, and you will be able to be joyful, to be joyous out of your giving. It will make you happy, and it will make you being to be in control of your money and not having your money to control you. And where do you give? Let's look at that. Where do we bring our gifts to? What are you passionate about? What stirs your heart? What stirs your spirit? If you are a Christian like myself, well, we talk of a storehouse. That's where we bring our tithes. But perhaps that's where we can also consider to bring our gifts. Because your storehouse have got responsibilities beyond yourself. They've got responsibilities of taking care of orphans, responsibilities of, like in my church, we have Boldmoose Foundation, for instance, which takes care of needy children at schools also, and many other activities and programs that they do. I once heard someone saying that no, he rather takes his money to orphans. That's fine. That is the gifts that you give. Let us differentiate here between this giving I'm referring to and the tithes. With the tithes, it will be wrong, obviously, to be taking care of the offense with tithe, because it's unscriptural. But you're giving. You can take care of offense. You can take care of whoever with your gifts. That is okay. I'm referring to the storehouse as an example of where you can take your gift to, because there is already an established system of what a storehouse can do. So if a storehouse, it's okay. That's good, because that's where you're also spiritually fed. So it will be fine to take your money, to give your money where you are spiritually fed. You may look at your community around you. You might look at your neighbor. You may also look at that child who passed matric last year and have not been able to go to varsity. That's where you can give. So there are many different ways and many different places that you can give. You might be looking at organizations. Let me put a warning on this to say, let us not be manipulated by organizations that we see on TV, whether it is a church or any other organization, because we don't always know what they do with the money that they collect. They will always bring their programs, but we are not sure whether they are taking that money to those programs that they show us. So my teaching to you will be, give where you can know, where you can see what your money does, what you can observe your money doing. You can even be part of such activities after you have given. So in conclusion, let's say it is important to give, and it is important to give right. Give while you expect to be given. It's time for homework now. As we sign off, what are the areas that concerns you in your finances? Can that be broken by giving? You don't give because you have more, but you give because you want to solve certain issues also in your finances. And I encourage you, my brothers, I encourage you, my sisters, you can break the spirit of greed and fear through giving. And you can enlarge your territories. You can enlarge your boundary of wealth creation through giving. Most, if not all, of the wealth that we know, they are very big when it comes to giving. We even have a concept called philanthropy. That is a systematic way of giving. Learn to cultivate that. I thank you very much, and thank you for tuning in, and thank you for being part of these teachings. Feel free to send us your messages. Feel free to send us your emails of encouragement, of concerns, or of any area that is of a concern in your financial life. We are more than happy, and we are prepared to assist you iron out so that you can become a better steward of God's money. Remember, it is God's money, not your money. It has been entrusted to you. If you can manage the little that you have, more shall be given unto you. Thank you very much.